I'm Jacob. In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 pillars that I used to go from skinny, stagnant, didn't really believe in myself, didn't have a lot of muscle, to actually building 20 pounds of lean muscle, feeling much more self-confident and just becoming a much better version of me. Okay, and that's what this channel is all about, is helping men build muscle and create self-confidence. Pretty simple, right? And the reason I can even talk about this, I've been a coach since I was 19. I've helped over 200 men also go through this exact same journey. Okay, and really it's a simple process, and you probably already know it, right? You probably kind of know what you need to do to get to that point, but I call it the 3 pillars of progress. And it's simple. You got to lift weights, you got to eat the right stuff, and you got to be consistent, right? If you can do these 3 pillars, you can actually build this house that represents the most muscular and self-confident version of you, right? But you probably didn't click on this video because you didn't know that. You probably clicked on this video because you're just struggling to actually be super consistent with these 3 pillars and ingrain them into your life and actually reap the rewards of becoming a more muscular and self-confident version of you. Okay, so if that's your struggle, then stick around for this video, and I'm going to double click on each of these pillars, show you some actionable strategies that you can use for each one to actually help you see the fruits of your labor and go on this same exact transformation of building muscle and creating self-confidence. Okay, first of all, when it comes to lifting, okay, number one biggest thing I do with all my clients is we almost always are going to get access to a gym. Okay, there's a couple reasons why I'm always going to recommend this, and the first is there's just tons of equipment in the gym that is going to be super helpful for us to build muscle. Right? Machines are awesome and incredibly helpful for lots of reasons that we'll continue to go over. And then also, when you just put yourself in an environment where there's other people around you, they're trying to build muscle, right? It's easy to kind of like get immersed into that, and it makes it a lot easier to stick to and kind of make that a part of your identity. Also, just by mixing up the location, right? If you're trying to do like home workouts or something, and it's very confusing because there's lots of cues with your home environment, where it's like that's where you work or that's where you relax. It's hard to be like, okay, like is this the workplace, the relaxed place, or the working out place? Like I don't know, and your body doesn't delineate locations very well. So by having this separate place which is just dedicated to exercise makes it a lot easier. Also, like when you just invest in a gym membership, right? When you invest in actually like sending that signal to yourself that like, okay, I'm buying this membership. That's like send a signal to yourself that, okay, I'm taking on this identity shift. I'm committing to building muscle, right? And actually, the more you invest, the bigger that signal, the more committed you're going to feel. So that's kind of all the reasons why I recommend gym. And then when it comes to actually building muscle, there's good ways to lift and not so good ways to lift, right? First of all, you need to know what actually builds muscle. Okay, well, when you walk in the gym, let's say it's your first day in the gym, right? First of all, you gotta know how to do the right form. So you gotta know how to actually do the exercises, right? So the form is kind of like the foundation, right? And once you can do an exercise properly, right, and you know which exercises to do to target every muscle, right? Let's say you didn't know these 2 things. You could waste a ton of time going in the gym, right? Because, for example, if you did what I did, which was like just wing it, I actually didn't do any rows with my elbows close to my body, and I never did any tricep pushdowns for years. So it took me like 2 years of just not doing that and just having like a really unbalanced body before I finally learned that. Like I never knew what the rear delts were, right? Which is like the back of your shoulders. So I had like super hunched shoulders for a really long time until I learned those things. So you got to know what to do, and then you also need to know how to do it properly. All right, so like if you go in, you're doing an exercise with wrong form, you might not even be training the muscle group that you're trying to train, or you might be training something completely different. Okay, so you need to know what to do, you need to know how to do it, right? Once you know what to do and you know how to do it, then you can actually start pushing yourself and setting records. Okay, and that's called progressive overload. Okay, so this is a super important part for building muscle, and there's a few reasons why it's so important. One, this is what helps us actually build muscle, like objectively. Okay, like building muscle is a lot more objective than you probably imagine, right? It's rooted in science. Okay, and I'm not gonna bog you down with all the science jargon because you don't care, and that's just gonna be boring for you. But it's important to know that progressively overloading is super important because on a high level, it helps us gain access to more of the muscle fibers in the muscle. The more muscle fibers we can gain access to, the more we can create muscle growth on those fibers, and that's how we build muscle. So it's super important that we're getting stronger over time. It means like very slowly increasing the weight. Okay, so progressive overload doesn't mean like, okay, like I did 2 sets today, I'm going to do 3 sets next time. It's not about doing more. It's about getting stronger over time. So incredibly important about getting stronger. Also, it could mean like doing the same weight for a few more reps in a set, right? But not doing more sets is what I mean. So you know what to do, you know how to do it. You're getting stronger. Boom. This is really the lowdown. It's really simple. Okay. If you can do that, you know what to do, you know how to do it, and you're getting stronger, now you know how to lift. Okay? You know how to lift. All right, now when it comes to nutrition, biggest thing I can tell you, when it comes to building muscle, when it comes to creating that body, feeling like a more muscular, self-confident version of you, okay, one of the most important things that we could talk about is treating food as fuel, right? So it's like, be fair to your body, and your body will be fair to you. Okay, so whether you're like super skinny, or like whether you're like kind of skinny fat, or whether you're like a little chunky, like honestly, like just remember, like be fair to your body, and your body will be fair to you. I'm gonna write that down. Be fair to your body, and your body will be fair to you. Okay, that's huge, right? So here's the thing that I've learned when it comes to nutrition, right? When you eat a healthy meal, right, and you eat, let's say you wake up and instead of eating cereal, instead of eating Reese's Puffs, you're gonna eat you're gonna have some eggs and avocado toast, right? You're gonna eat some good quality food into your body, right? It's going to feel awesome when you finish the meal, right? So when you eat a good meal that you know is setting you on path towards the version of you that you're striving to become, you know it's helping you become a muscular person, a healthier person, it feels awesome when you finish the meal, right? It might not taste exactly as tasty as the meals that you're eating right now. Maybe right now you're eating some fast food, you're eating some things that are a little junky. You might like the taste, right? So it's going to be a little bit of a hard paradigm shift to start to treat food as fuel. So what I want to remind you is to be motivated by your likes, not your wants, right? So for example, you might know that you're gonna like how you feel after you eat a good meal, right? So for me, like that's the biggest motivator when I'm about to eat a meal. It's like, man, I can't wait to feel energized, fueled after this, right? Compared to the wanting is what happens before an action, and the liking is what happens after an action, right? So like the dopamine is hitting you before the meal, like, oh, like I crave this pleasure that I'm gonna eat from this sugary, right, or from this super processed other meal that I might eat, right? But remember, that's going to make you feel like shit after, right? So you should think about how you're going to feel after, and let that be the factor that motivates your action right now, right? So you want to always be motivated about how you're going to feel, right? If you can really capture that, and you can really start to become addicted to that feeling of feeling gratified and fueled when you finish, it's going to be a lot easier to get yourself to do the hard stuff, because you prioritize that feeling of liking versus that feeling of wanting, right? And then when it comes to good fuel, right, we're talking about balanced macronutrients, right? So that's proteins, carbs, fats, right? We're talking about clean ingredients, right? So staying on the outside of the grocery store, right? So all the processed stuff's in the inside, outside of the grocery store, right? We're talking about hits our protein goal, right? So between 20 to 35 grams of protein in each meal, right? And we're going to aim for like this, like at least like 4 to 5 times per day. Okay, so this is a big one, but it's like this was a big paradigm shift for me. And I always say, it's like, imagine your body could only absorb up to 30 grams of protein in one sitting. Okay, so when you think that way, and you're like, huh, man, like I'm doing this lifting, I really want to take advantage of this lifting by efficiently absorbing as much protein as I can throughout the day. Well, if I can only do it in one sitting, 30 grams, you have to be proactive. You have to space out your protein, right? So this might mean like 3 meals and 2 protein snacks to get to 5. And think about, if each of those is like 20 to 35 grams, that means I'm efficiently absorbing like 150 grams of protein throughout the day. Okay, that's all you need. It doesn't need to be anything egregious. You don't need to be eating a carton of eggs and a mass gainer and none of that. Okay, just be fair to your body will be fair to you. It makes sense, okay, for a reason. It's like if you put consistent, good quality fuel in your body and you lift consistently, you will build a ton of muscle, feel better, and your body will transform. Okay, but you got to be motivated by that feeling afterwards of gratification, not that craving. I'm telling you, once you do this for a little bit, you're never going to want to turn back because you're going to see the results. And I'm telling you, that feeling is a million times better than that quick dopamine hit, right? Sorry, I got a little cold pushing through though. Okay, pillar number 3 is you could do this perfectly for a day, for a week, but if you can't do it consistently, it doesn't matter. Okay, so how do you do it consistently? Okay, and this is what I call, you have to be willing to create an identity shift. Okay, so this is where a lot of people go wrong, is they have this goal, they have this intention that they want to build muscle, but they don't actually want to become a muscular person. They don't actually want to become a gym goer. They want the result, but they don't want the identity that comes with it. Well, if that's the case, you're never going to actually get that result. And if you do get the result, it's going to revert right back. So if you truly want to become more self-confident and you want to build muscle, you're going to have to part ways with your current identity and you're going to have to assume a new identity. Okay, that you know is going to lead you to feeling more fulfilled about your life and just feeling a lot better about yourself and improving your own reputation with yourself. But you got to be willing to create an identity shift. Right? So it's kind of like the difference between the inner and outer layer of an onion, right? So imagine I had an onion right here, right? A lot of people, right? Imagine there's layers to the onion, right? So on this outer layer, this is like a goal-based habit, right? So a lot of people, they say, okay, I want to build muscle, and they're just thinking about the goal. Okay, I want to build muscle. I want to get leaner, so I'm going to do these things. I'm going to eat less food, and I'm going to exercise, right? And they're focusing on the habits that are going to get to the goal, and they're thinking about the goal, right? And the reason this is on the outside of the onion is because this is a very temporary approach. It's a very short-term fix, right? You might be stepping on the scale, you might be weighing yourself, you might be tracking the calories, right? But you might even make a little bit of progress, but you'll normally revert right back to your baseline identity, your self-image of who you believe yourself to be. Okay, so if you're just trying to set a goal, you'll never be able to outrun an identity that contradicts this aspiration that you have, right? This change that you're trying to make. Okay, so you need to become very clear from the outset that you're actually willing to undergo a complete identity shift. Okay, so it's a subtle difference, but it's really important. Right, so this is the goal-based habit, right? And the identity-based habit is like at the core of the onion, right? And this is different. This is like, okay, I want to become a gym goer. I want to become somebody that appreciates I want to become a gym goer. I want to become somebody that appreciates, gratification over pleasure. Somebody that prioritizes accomplishment over comfort. Okay, you have to be willing to become this person, right? If you're not willing to become this person, I have news for you. You will never build muscle and become a self-confident person and feel proud of the body that you built. Okay, the only way is you have to be willing to become this person. You have to be willing to become a consistent person. Okay, if you identify yourself as a lazy, unproductive person, you have to start being willing to identify yourself as a consistent, productive person, a disciplined person. Probably like, Jake, like, what the heck? How am I going to become this person? Like, that totally contradicts everything that I believe about myself. Well, this is how identity shift works, right? Let's say this version of you that you're trying to become, right? Let's say this was a bucket right here, right? Right? Kind of like a voting ballot, okay? Right, and let's say this is you right now. You right now. Okay, let's say it's like the opposite, right? Like not super confident, like hasn't really been that consistent. It's kind of has like a history of letting yourself down when it comes to your body, right? Well, right now you have a lot of evidence in this voting bucket, in this ballot. Okay, let's say these were votes, right? And all the times that you just decided to like not go to the gym even though you wanted to, and all the times that you just kind of like ate like shit, and all the times that you just like were like, oh, you know what, I'll do it next week, and then you didn't do it, right? All that, those little decisions that you made, those little signals that you sent to yourself, it's kind of like this evidence that's just accumulated, right? And you got all these votes in this bucket. All right, and now you hear me telling you, well, you got to be willing to aim for that core of the onion, not just set a goal, but you got to be willing to undergo this identity shift. What we're saying is now we're actually willing to set habits in this gym bucket, or in this gym goer bucket, right? So let's say I said, okay, for this month, I'm going to start going to the gym 5 times a week, right? And you're sticking to your commitment. Every single time you stick to your commitment, it's like you're casting a vote in this new bucket. Every time you go to the gym, you are a gym goer. Every time you set a new record and you push yourself, you are someone that appreciates gratification over pleasure, right? Every single time that you eat a healthy meal, right? You are somebody that is consistent, right? Every single time you stick to these little habits that we set, you start to accumulate evidence over here, right? And the more recent the actions, the more potent the votes, right? So these votes actually start to dissipate in the background and they start to come over here too, right? So that's the power of habits that are set with the intention of creating identity shift, is that you can actually shift your being. Right? And the reason I can say this so confidently is because I literally have done this identity shift multiple times in my life. Okay, but the biggest one is like when I was this dude, I literally won the biggest procrastinator award for 4 straight years. I had this core belief that I was somebody that didn't like to try my best. I was somebody that liked to go with the flow. That was literally my core identity at the very root of my being, of how I identify myself. That was my self-image, right? And it was backed by so much evidence in my life. All the times that I procrastinated, all the times I didn't try my best, all the times I didn't care, right? But then this guy, because I've accumulated enough evidence and I had this intention, like, hey, I want to start actually being the best version of myself. And I had this intention that I didn't want to just build muscle, right? I never had a single time set a goal to build muscle in my life. I've never been like, oh, I want to build 10 pounds of muscle. Or, oh, I want to really build 15 pounds on my bench. I've never set a goal. I had an intention when I was at a lowest point in my life that I was like, hey, I just want to start being the best version of myself. I'm tired of this feeling like I'm letting myself down. I'm tired of not living the life I know I could be. And I want to see what's out there for me. And I said, you know what? I want to start being the best version of me. right? And I started going to the gym with that identity shift in mind, right? It's a subtle difference, but it makes a huge difference. Okay, and then you can actually shift the votes into your favor, and you can actually become a different version of you, right? And once the identity shifts, the reason why this is under the consistency pillar is because that's where consistency comes from. When you identify yourself a certain way, it's impossible to not be consistent with how you identify yourself. Like, think about it. Like, do you identify yourself as a hygienic person? If you do, I bet you brush your teeth every day. Do you identify yourself as somebody that's good at work? If you do, I bet you show up at work every day and do your job. Right? Do you identify yourself as a good family man? Right? If you do, then I bet you're showing up and you're having good conversations with your family. You're taking care of your family, like whatever it is, like however you believe yourself to be. It's super easy to do those things. So it's like right now, the reason why it's so easy for you to not be consistent in the gym, to not be consistent with your nutrition, is because you're stuck over here and you have all the evidence that contradicts this identity. So you got to be willing to take on this journey with the goal of identity shift in mind. And then you already probably know that you should be lifting and eating the right stuff, but this is the biggest part. This is the biggest difference maker that no other fitness coaches are talking about, right? Like any other fitness program, you hop inside, they're gonna be, oh, like, let's set some goals. How much do you want to weigh in 3 months? Right? How much stronger do you want to be on the bench? Sorry, right? So it's not about that, right? It's about like knowing the type of version of you that you're trying to become. And then when you're actually setting these nutrition habits and these lifting habits, you want to do it in a way that it's easy to stick to, right? So you want to set these habits in a way that actually fits in your life really well and is going to make it, right? Everything is the long-term vision in mind. Everything is about sustainability, right? And real quick, I'll just throw this in here. When it comes to actually setting good habits the right way, right? This is actually cue, craving, response, reward. This is called the habit loop. Okay, these are the 4 stages that guide any behavior that we do. Okay, we can manipulate all of these to our advantage when it comes to creating habits that are easy to stick to. Sorry. Right, so we can do cue, craving, response, reward. Right, and we can do a few things. We can make it easy. We can no, sorry, that's wrong. Sorry, I'm a little sick. All right, when it comes to cue, we can make it obvious. When it comes to the craving, we can make it attractive. Right, when it comes to the response, we can make it easy. And when it comes to the reward, we can make it satisfying. Right? So I'm just going to break this down with a simple example for the gym. Let's say you struggle making the gym a habit. Okay, well, we can make it obvious. How do we make the gym obvious? Well, we don't pick a gym that is 15 miles away. We pick a gym that's already close to work, it's already near your house, it's already en route to wherever your daily life is already set up. Okay, well, how do we make the gym attractive? Well, we reframe the gym as being something that's painful and exhausting. We reframe it as an opportunity to cast votes into becoming the version of you that you want to become. Right? So that's how we think of the gym. It's like, oh, wow, I get to go to the gym today. Well, it's an opportunity for me to cast a vote into the type of person that I know I want to become that will bring me more fulfillment, gratification, more self-confidence, improve my reputation with myself, all these good things that we're shooting for. Right? So that's how we can make it more attractive. We can make it easier to go to the gym just by doing the right program, doing a program that isn't going to take me 3 hours to complete, supersets, drop sets, chasing the pain, all that. Like, just train efficiently, right? And that's what I always talk about, like when on social media and everything, is actually how to get the best bang for your buck in the gym and not having to fall victim to the meathead training programs. Got to be careful with those meathead fitness influencers, guys. And then make it satisfying. So reward. So by having a coach, for example, that when you finish your workout, you get a notification that's like, boom, you just finished, and you get your coach that's like hyping you up, right? It's very satisfying, and what's satisfying often gets repeated. Okay, let's do this for nutrition, right? Let's say I want to eat a healthy breakfast. Right? How can we make it obvious? Well, those cereals, just throw them away. Right? If you only have the option to eat the eggs and avocado toast, guess what you're going to eat when you wake up when you're hungry? The eggs and avocado toast. Right? Make it attractive. Well, think about how you're going to feel after you finish the meal. Right? That makes it more attractive. You have more desire to eat it because you know when you finish the meal, you're going to be like, man, like I feel fueled, I feel energized, and I just did something that's going to help me build muscle. Like, let's go. That's a great feeling. Right? So let that motivate you. Right? Make it very easy to do it. Right? You can like put the pan already on the stove. You can like, not like tell, here's a funny story. Like I used to like, cut up peppers and onions and like spend like 45 minutes making this like intricate, delicate breakfast, but it wasn't sustainable. And now like I've made my breakfast so many times, I can literally make it wearing a blindfold. It's so easy to do it. It takes no effort, right? Because it's just like, boom, I crack the eggs right into the pan. Add a little cheese and mix it up, low and slow. Egg toast in the toaster, right? Okay, just mix it slow. Toast is out. Put it on a plate. Take the eggs off the pan. Take an avocado, cut it in half. Put it into little slices. Quarter of an avocado on each slice of toast. Use the back of the fork. Rub it in there. Put the eggs on the plate. Little bit of everything bagel seasoning. 10 minutes every morning, never missed it. It's easy, and it helps me become the type of person that I know I want to become. Right? And it's very satisfying when it tastes good. Right? So like I love how my eggs and avocado toast taste really good. Right? If you hate how it tastes, it's going to be hard to want to repeat it. So that's the key. Like, and wait, let me see. I forgot to add the last step here. That was actually the last step. Tasty. Yeah, so you should be able to find meals that are fuel, but that you also enjoy the taste, so it's easy to stick to. All right, guys. I hope that helps. These are the 3 pillars of progress. Seems really simple on the surface, but there's actually a lot to it when you pull back the curtain. And yeah, if you're trying to build muscle, create self-confidence, I hope you found a nugget in here that can help. If you want to actually customize this to you, just click the link in the description of this video, and we can actually hop on a call and dig in a little bit deeper, and I'll see if I might be able to help.